Let's talk about sexual health. For real.
Hello, this is the third episode of Healthy Love. You are listening in web radio, and today we are gonna talk about pornography with amazing Francesca.
Hello everybody, I'm very happy to be here.
Francesca is part of the H.U.M.A.N team in our association, and as always I have Kat with me.
Hello, I'm sick.
But
Okay,
you survive.
I did. I'm here for you, of course.
You see, what a beautiful team.
Yeah.
So, as I said, today we are gonna talk about pornography, and we are gonna share some personal opinions and opinions based in research that we did. We can't say for sure that pornography is good or bad, because we are gonna talk about some pros and cons about pornography, and I would like to ask you if you think about some pros about pornography, because I think it's the most difficult to think about.
No, I'm just kidding. But you can start, Francesca.
I think the use of pornography is very normal and is largely diffused in all the world, so we can't avoid to talk about this topic. And I think there are some pros, for example, that it can be one of the first approach to sexuality, because sexuality, as everybody know, but it's better to repeat, is an important part of life, and often you need some years to arrive to reach a good awareness about it, because it's a word that you are building step by step in order to know yourself, to know what you like, and also how to give pleasure to your partner. So because it is one of the main points, I think. So pornography is one of the first approach and can be useful in this
Situation.
from this point of view, because you have the first approach, but it's very, very important to be aware of what are you watching and what are you doing, and it's very important to know that is an instrument. So it's not the aim of life, it's not real sex, it's only just an instrument.
Yeah.
So we have to use it consciously.
Of course. I think, that's it, to discover yourself and maybe to try new types of pleasure with your partner. It's really helpful in that way. And even for people that don't have a partner, I think it's a easier way to get that type of pleasure. It's easier to get your pleasure if you don't have a partner while watching porn and everything. So it's really good.
Yeah, but I guess this could also be a downside. Everything you said could also be a downside of pornography, you know what I mean? Maybe we can get more into this when we get to other subjects, but you know, like how young you actually get exposed to this kind of stuff, because it's incredibly easy to get access to it, and not even just pornography itself in major sites, but everything on the internet and on TV and film and everything. And but yeah, it's like you were saying, sex is literally such a natural and important part in people's lives. Not everyone likes having sex. Of course, we're aware of asexual people, and that's obviously completely fine. But it can be not the only way, but it's maybe that part of like finding out what you like and what you want.
Exactly.
In a safe way, maybe. It could be important, yeah.
Yeah, and mostly people watch pornography because release dopamine in your brain. So of course you are gonna feel some pleasure, and you are gonna feel good in your mind and everything. But that's the point that can turn pornography dangerous.
Yeah.
Because you get addicted to that sensation in your body and in your mind. So that's easier to get more into it and become addicted.
Yes, also because the brain, we have to remember that is plastic, so you can create continuously for all your life a new connection. The neurons do this, so the habit, the good or the bad habit, are very important. So if you get used to use pornography all the time, maybe you forget to relate your sexuality to a real life. So it's important to have a limit in this. You can use obviously, but not to abuse. So the line often is very subtle, and that's the most difficult things to recognize if you are going toward an addiction, or if you are just using an instrument that we have and is right to use.
Talking about addiction, 4 to 10% of the people that watch porn consider themselves addicted to pornography, and this is the 4 to 10%. It's the people that are aware of that, excluding the people that are not aware, and I believe that it's higher, the percentage. The percentage.
There you go.
Do you know about what do you consider symptoms of people that are addicted to porn? Both of you?
I think like every kind of addiction, when you can't control your impulse, because you feel the desire to do this, and you do also when you shouldn't, because maybe you have other stuff to do more important, but you can't control this.
And it's super ironic how you watch pornography because you miss sex and you're watching it to get aroused and everything, and then stuff like this can prevent you from wanting to have sex because you're so addicted to it. It kind of replaces the feeling of having sex, because in a way it's easier and it can feel better because you're doing what you want when you want, you're watching. I mean, it's also incredibly dangerous, like all of these categories that are separated sometimes like by race. It's like you kind of
Insane.
It's insane in a way. Like, first of all, incredibly racist. We can begin on that. Fetishizing people. Like there's people, like the people that are doing porn, or people, they're not actors, they're not animals, they're not anything, just there for your pleasure, and for you to fetishize those kind of people. And then obviously you're gonna go outside and you're probably not gonna get aroused when you see a person your own race, because you're used to watching black people or Asian people, you know.
Yeah, and
you look for that.
The attraction for you.
Yeah.
So about the addiction, I have here some symptoms of people that have the addiction, and as Francesca say, it's the necessary to watch constantly to porn. The fact that you feel the need to watch constantly, so you lose a lot of time searching for it or watching it. You lose interest in another stuff in your life, like you disconnect yourself with the real world and real people, because and you lose interest in maybe in your partner, in other people, in sex in real life. You can spend a lot of money because you want more and more and more, and diversity, so you spend more money on that. So these are some symptoms about the porn addiction, and these symptoms can turn you into worse problems like depression, anxiety, social exclusion, and it's really sad when you turn into this point of your life.
Yes, because when you don't control something, you feel like a slave, and something that in theory it can be can make you feel more free, because actually you are doing something natural. It's natural to get arousal and to want to feel pleasure, but you aren't controlling this, you feel like a slave. So the good sensation change in one of the worst sensations in life.
You feel stuck on it, and you lose the point of watching. You just watch because it's the addiction controlling you.
And we have also to think I think about the power of images, because it's different to read a book or to watch TV, no? Because when you are watching something, your brain is completely focused. Your ability to imagine is zero in that moment, and it's like this that the brain works. So we have to know. So for this reason, to the compulsive use of pornography help you to create an unrealistic vision of sex and of life, because there is only the simple sex, the mechanical act, but sex, as we can imagine, involve also a lot of other things. For example, intimacy, relationship, and this kind of stuff.
Connection.
So if you know what are you doing, it's okay. But if you don't know, this can help you to ruin your future relationship, your vision of intimacy, and that's it.
It's also, I think he might be, not that anything is wrong with it, but I think he might be also normalizing kind of this like hookup culture. You know, you just have sex and that's it, and then we're good, you know. I think, I'm not gonna say it's directly related to that, because I think it's something a little new. But you know, like this separation in sex and intimacy, which is fine. I mean, you do you, but it's kind of.
For me, the difference it's really about the feelings and the connection, you know, because it's really good and normal for people to just have like a sex partner and without being in a relationship.
Yeah.
But even with a sex partner or a one night stand, whatever, the feelings are important, the connection are important. That's what makes the difference between the mechanics sex that Francesca were talking about or real life sex. Because if you have a connection, everything is better. You feel more comfortable, your partner feel more comfortable, you can discover more pleasure, and it's better.
Yep.
Talking about the cons of pornography, there are a lot, unfortunately, and one of the most dark ones is the human traffic and the abusive conditions of work, even if it's your choice to do it, because sometimes people lie to you and you discover yourself into a really bad position that you can't get out easily. So why do you think the human traffic happens a lot in this industry in general?
I mean, it's just easier, I guess, it's not easier, it's super complicated, I guess, but, you know, it's...
it's
not a lot of
really
rules.
hard topic.
Not a lot of rules, it's just, you know, you do what I tell you and I'll just make money out of you, and...
Yeah, that's it.
No.
And
For this reason, I think we have people that use pornography should think about what they are watching, because with a simple click we can help a very bad word related, as Francesca was saying, to human traffic, prostitution, or violence in general. So it's very different to watch a kind of porno or another one, because watching a specific kind of porno, you are helping this industry, and so it's very dangerous because real people are involved here.
Yeah.
So,
and it's like there's major websites that are super popular. They're huge platforms with millions and millions of viewers, and even then it's really hard to control this kind of stuff. I remember there were some cases that they would they had some videos on their platforms of like rape and child
abuse.
Abuse, because it's not pornography, it's just straight up abuse. But you know, and they kind of did a sweep and kind of deleted everything, but you know, that stuff was still there, and it's obviously because they deleted of their just because they deleted of their platform, it doesn't mean it's not on the internet anymore. Because once it's in the internet, it doesn't really get out. So this is also for everything, like, be careful what you put on the internet, because it will be always there.
People are not aware of that.
Yeah. So yeah, just maybe even wouldn't exactly even recommend the bigger platforms. I know right now it's kind of more controlled, and like it's only people that post are amateurs or like people that are their own creators of the website, and that's good. I mean, if you're making money, especially,
Yeah.
they're making their own money instead of working for other corporations. That's a big step on this
Yeah.
direction, but
Mhm.
it's still maybe be careful of what kind of things you're what kind of things you're assessing, because you'll never really know what's behind that video.
Yeah. I think also because that's it. It's a big industry,
Yeah.
so it's a really fake reality, and some ways that you can understand that it's really not disturbing, but yeah, a fake reality. It's like the idea of pleasure that you watch the duration of the act, the scenes, and especially the bodies.
The
That
body. Yeah.
The bodies are, most of them are, looks like they are not like real bodies, like they are all perfect, or it's strange.
Yes, I think we can say that the exaggerated use of pornography helped to reinforce a lot of stereotypes related to physical aspects, because you don't accept that people are different as got physical different body, and there is only a type, a kind of perfect body that is not only perfect, it's very exaggerated in their sexual character, so it's impossible that everybody is like this. And also, as Kat was saying about the kind of porno, there are a lot of stereotypes about the different ethnies, and also the stereotype about what sex is, because pornography involves only the mechanical fact. So it forget to mention, because it's not the aim, obviously, every kind of relationship, because also if you are only having a sexual relationship is a relationship, so
Yes.
it involves
Yeah.
another person, and you have to take care or respect somehow. You have to, I think, in order to have pleasure and to be a civil person. But pornography doesn't consider it at all. So if you do it every day for some years, you can have a lot of damages in your vision of life, in your relationship, and maybe you can become unable to create a real relationship, because you separate real life, emotion, feelings, and sex. But I think they are very related, because sex is a manifestation, an expression of something, also just arousal, but an arousal related to a person that makes you feel like this.
It's really about the connection. It's the most important, and that's why people get disappointed in some way, because when they confront themselves with real sex and real people, they want everything to be perfect, or in a really specific way that it's not for sure. And they start to get bored about to talking with other people without and being involved with other people's lives, or stuff like that.
Yeah, and also like this, speaking of bodies, like this whole thing, because people weren't really not shaving their legs, but shaving your privates and everything. It wasn't really like, it was super common watching in porn in maybe the early 70s or anything. I think that's when it started. People started to shave their privates and everything, and this kind of feeds other stuff, because the only person that actually don't have hair there, it's children. Like we talked about, the millions of cases that are out there in the internet. It's legal, but it's kind of feeding into something else.
Yeah, of course, and unfortunately, it's not even just about what you shave or whatever. It's really the act of the woman in the porn movies. Like, most of them are talking with really child voices or with things related to kids, like even toys, like whatever, like kids' clothes, everything. It's really a whole stuff, and it's really disturbing.
Yeah.
Yes, because if you aren't conscious about what are you watching, you can create in your mind some wrong
Fantasy.
connection,
Yeah.
some realistic connection that don't help you at all in real life. So
Also, this, like, I mean, again, the children, this idea, because being completely honest, pornography is mostly made for men. And this idea that not all of it, because some men and some other women are more into other stuff, not hilarious at all. It's super sad that even woman is submissive and gay pornography, like woman on woman, is targeted to men. It's never targeted as gay pornography to women. It's targeted as lesbian pornography, and it's always like super, they're super more. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. Obviously,
No,
I'm not.
but it's more exaggerated.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, it's
really just, and then they're super sensual and everything. It's really just about the viewer and not about what they're doing and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's important for you maybe to use porn for the things that we talk in the beginning of the podcast, but that's it. It's up to you to have the knowledge to understand that it's really a fake situation. It's a performance. So it's important for you to understand that. But the point is that it's really easier, as we are talking about, to get into pornography. Like, you can just search in your laptop and it's a whole world appearing in front of you.
Yeah.
And when you are a child or a teenager, most of the time you are not familiarized of real sex.
Yeah.
What is that? How you do it? How that feels? So it's disturbing for them.
yes, I think it's very different if you have your first approach with a strong kind of pornography when you are 12 years old or when you are 16 years old, or if you are an adult. If you're an adult, you can do more or less whatever you want, because you have the instrument to judge, to separate what is real life, what is entertainment, because there is nothing strange to want to be entertained once, because it's natural, I think, but it's very different if a teenager do this, and he can create in his mind, or in her mind, some unrealistic vision of a lot of stuff, because you need a lot of, I think, more here to create a good vision of what relationship involve and what sexual activities involve. So if your first approach is so unrealistic, so unnatural, maybe this can be dangerous for this reason.
Because it's gonna be the reality in your mind, and when you confront yourself with real connections and real people, real sex, you are like, what is this? Like, it's not what I imagine. And you don't are able to feel the pleasure anymore in some way.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really important, because of course we can't stop the porn industry. It's here for so many time, and it's really difficult to stop. But in some way I think that the industry it was better for them to have just more care about what they are abording, the way they are doing that, to become more safe and more healthier, even for the workers or for the people that are watching. I think can be really helpful and better for everybody.
Yeah, I mean,
Of course they
But it's also true that until people are watching this kind of extreme sex, violent sex, the industry feel allowed to make money and to do this kind of film. So it's something that we have to see, to analyze from different point of view.
Yeah.
Because as we said, we have in our mind some neuronal connection. So when you get arousal, you feel a bond with the object or the person of your arousal. So you can manage this with a good habit, because if you start since the beginning of your sexual activities to relate your arousal to something more than the simple image of, but also you think about the involvement, the connection that you can see, can feel. Yeah. Sex is more complicated in your mind, so your connection, your bond are not only about the body and stuff. Since you are a child, you start to think about sex not only like a mechanical act, because of course is it, but it's not only this. It's more related to connection, involvement, intimacy, and the top is love, okay, but there is not only love and the best relationship of your life, but of course sex is related to relationship. So if we separate these two aspects, we create a bond with the object or the person of our arousal related only to the body, to the mechanical act, and this is not wrong from a moral point of view, but from a personal point of view, because this doesn't help you for your personal and intimate development in the future.
Yeah, and maybe I think that maybe can affect other aspects in your life, like, because if you are not giving importance to the connection with people and feelings, maybe you can in some way stop to feel that connection in other aspects, like not just in sex life, you know, like you in some way you start to get a distance of making real connections, because it's more takes more time.
Yes, it becomes an habit, obviously. So you lose the vision, the ability. Yes, you don't want to be vulnerable, never. But often relationship means also to be vulnerable and to open yourself to another person. So we have also to learn how to do this. If you focus on your attention only about the mechanical fact, you never learned this.
And also related to what you're saying about the hardcore stuff that is out there, it's also like it's not unnecessary and realistic, because a lot of people are into these things, but that's the thing. And the related to the sex workers being people, and how much can they do and how much it like affects their mental health, because some things out there are so incredibly aggressive. And
yes,
no, I mean, obviously you can have different tastes, and you can, you know, it doesn't necessarily need to be just everyone is not having the same kind of sex, and it's okay to like other stuff. But there's some stuff that is just generally like degrading, especially to women and men, of course. We were watching this super interesting documentary. It's not only related to pornography and everything, but it's called Hate Thy Neighbor, and it's super interesting if you want to give it a watch.
Yeah, you
but yeah. And I mean, it's incredible the types of stuff that some people are watching. And I mean, if you not saying that if you watch pornography you're feeding into this, but you know, it's just
But in my opinion, I think even like hardcore sex or stuff like that, even hardcore sex in real life, it's not the same at all. Like most of first of all, you need to agree with your partner to do it, and in most of the cases, you have like a keyword to do it in a right way, to don't push yourself into limits that you don't want to. So it's not real.
It's not. It can be not more realistic in a way that, I mean, it's a lot more uncensored, I guess, but it's also not real. Like nothing is real. Everything is fake. Don't believe anything.
Yeah, that's the point. What we want to say is that it's normal to have this need to watch porn or living your sexual life in the way that you feel more comfortable. So do it, but be aware of you and other people
Yep.
that are involved
Yeah.
on that. As Francesca was saying, I think it's really, really interesting to you to find new ways to get kind of the same pleasure as you get while watching porn, like the dopamine and your stuff.
Yes, I think this is related about your personal taste, but maybe you can be interested also in erotic film, erotic literature, because the difference between erotism and pornography is that erotism have some space for imagination, and imagination is fundamental for the daily life, but especially about your sexual life. So if you watch only pornography, you don't stimulate your imagination, because you have a simple image, so clear, so direct, and that's it. While if you watch erotic film and there is a big literature, actually, you can stimulate more your imagination and your involvement, because you have something that you don't see. So you can imagine this, you can imagine what you would prefer, and so I think it can be very interesting to go deep in this kind of world.
If you are interested, I think it's really a good world to explore instead of porn that you are used to watch or everything. Maybe you can even discover your taste more, and that's it. I think it's really helpful.
Just a suggestion, not an obligation.
Yeah, of course, you do you, but most of the time people don't think about it, so it's good to talk about this, to have an idea, you know?
Because this kind of stuff can be very exciting. People think that only pornography is exciting, but it's not like this. We have also to explore something different.
New, yeah. And nowadays even podcasts. We have podcasts, erotic podcasts, so you have a lot of options, so it's good for you if you want to explore in a more safe way and maybe healthier. Now I have two websites to share with you. The first one that I'm gonna share, it's related to the previous podcast that we did about drugs and about euphoria. So the first website, it's Medical Center Laura Catana. Sorry about my Romanian, but we are gonna put in the description, so it's okay for you to find. And basically here you can find some articles, interesting articles about addictions in general, mostly about drugs, but you can search more. And they help you to recover in your addictions, to rehab. And the second one, it's more general. The name is Healthy Guide. And in this one you can find a lot of articles about every stuff related to health in a physical way, in a mental way. So if you are interested, I think it can be really helpful for you and useful to know.
Yep.
So do you want to do resume?
Gladly. So
Yes.
today we had our dear friend Francesca with us, and we talked a little about the dangers and, you know, also the good side of pornography. We're not encouraging it, but mostly, the dangers that it can affect you and the people that are making this content for you. And we gave you some suggestions, some other stuff you could do instead of this, maybe to appease yourself. And we gave you some websites that you can watch
Explore,
and
yeah.
explore, and you should totally do it.
Yeah, and next episode we are gonna talk about grooming. It's a really interesting topic too, and really important, mostly for the young people.
Yep.
So we are gonna talk about it with Gael. And I hope you enjoy. It was a pleasure to be here with you.
This is Red Radio.
Yes.
And bye bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.